Hi, Alvin DeLeon here, and you are watching episode 57 of the 3-Minute Health Tip. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about finding your conflicts. For many people, when they're dealing with some sort of neck pain, back pain, or shoulder pain that doesn't have a real mechanism of injury, it's a real frustrating time doing all sorts of therapies and only to get very mild or temporary results. And so only when we start to introduce them to the concepts of the 5 biological laws and GNM and this idea that there's an emotional component or a conflict shock that's tied to their physical symptoms and pain, can we see pretty amazing results. However, for some of our patients, even though they think that they figured out their conflict, they get a little frustrated when they don't see a change in their symptoms. And so one of the things that I want you all to know when it comes down to figuring out what's the conflict that led to your symptoms is the fact that when you make that connection, when you become conscious of the fact that your low back pain has to do with something your mother said 3 weeks ago, or perhaps it has to do with an issue with your girlfriend or boyfriend 6 months ago, once you make that connection and that mental awareness, within a couple of days, you start to see a change in your symptoms. And that's one of the things that I love about applying GNM in my clinical practice is that the feedback is immediate. And so oftentimes I tell people dealing with, chronic aches and pains to see me within a week. And if in 1 week, that person that's been suffering with that back pain for 7 months, that's tried all sorts of therapies out there without much results, if we can connect it to a support issue regarding their family member or their boss at work, then within a couple of days, they start to feel relief. And within 1 week, there's a significant change in how they feel. Emotionally, they're more relaxed. Their pain level or the intensity of their pain has gone down significantly, sometimes at a point where they admit that it's 50% better or even more. And this is how we start to know that we've got the right conflict. However, if you're trying to figure it out, or you think that your back pain has to do with that issue with your mother on your birthday, and within a week of making that connection, there's no change in your symptoms, like not any change, or you tell me it's a 5 or 10% change, but not much, then it's probably not that conflict. So I would scrap that and start over and look for a new conflict in your life. And this is what we tend to see now. Like over the last 8 years, I've got to the level of confidence that I know that it doesn't matter how long you've had your symptoms. If we find the right conflict, you become aware and conscious of it, you're going to get a change in your symptoms within a week. And I remember a recent case of a young man who was dealing with chronic low back pain, referring down to his leg, a sciatica. This is a young guy in his, I think he was in his 19 or 20s. And we thought it had to do with an issue with his mother. But within a week, he had zero change in his symptoms. So we said, forget your mother. What else was going on? And then we figured out there was an issue with a girl at the time who's now his girlfriend. And so making that connection within a week, he had about a 50% improvement in his symptoms, like significant for him compared to what he'd experienced in the previous 7 months. He started working out again. He started doing things again that he wasn't doing because of the back issues. Now, does that mean that the back pain, the structural changes are gone? No, the arthritis is probably still there. If there was a bulge, the bulge could still be there, but there's no inflammation. There's no pain involved with it. One of the things I want you to get out of this health tip, when it comes to finding your conflict, if you make that connection mentally, maybe it has to do with this incident, watch for a change within a couple of days, up to a week max. There has to be a change in that pain. If there is no change within a week, look for another conflict. It probably was not related to that conflict. Okay, so I hope that health tip is valuable. Thanks for your attention, and I'll see you at the next episode.